Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in this video you're going to learn how to solve inequalities. So you will need the Solving Inequalities intro note sheet. So at the beginning it says solving inequalities is just like solving equations. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're going to do the same exact thing that we were doing with solving equations and just apply it to inequalities. So let's take a look at this example problem. It says solve the following equation and inequality. So for here we have x minus 3 equals 7. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what is the variable? The variable here is x. What is attached to the x? Attached to the x is a minus 3. To undo that minus 3, we're going to add 3. And again, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. I'm going to add 3 over here. Now these 3's are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down our variable x. And 7 plus 3 is going to give us 10. So for that equation, x is equal to 10. That means that if we were to take 10 and plug it in for x, 10 minus 3 is equal to 7. Now let's take a look at this inequality. We're going to do the same exact thing that we did with the equation. We're just dealing with an inequality symbol. So our variable is x, attached to the x is a minus 3. So we're going to add 3 on this side, and we're going to add 3 on this side as well. Our 3's are going to cancel. We'll bring down the x, and 7 plus 3 is 10. Instead of writing an equal sign, though, we do have a greater than symbol, so we want to make sure we write our greater than symbol. So that means as long as we have any number that's bigger than 10, this inequality would be true, okay? So let's say if we had 11, if we did our 11 here minus 3, we would have a number that is larger than 7, so that works. So now at the bottom it says, how does the solution to the equation and inequality differ? So I want you to think about that for a moment. You can pause the video and then we'll take a look at it in just a moment. Now that you've had a moment to kind of think about it, our equation and inequality answers are different. With our equation, it's saying that x is equal to 10 and x can only be 10. But when we look at inequality, it says x could be any number greater than 10. So with our equation, we have one specific answer. With our inequality, we can have an infinite amount of answers as long as x is greater than 10. Now I want us to do some practice problems so that you can get accustomed to solving with inequalities. This first problem here says m plus 6 is less than or equal to 10. So our variable is m, attached to that m is a plus 6. To undo plus 6, we're going to subtract 6. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Our 6's cancel. I'm going to bring down m. 10 minus 6 is 4, and I'm going to bring down our less than or equal to symbol. So m is any number that's less than or equal to 4, and that's what would make this inequality true. Let's take a look at this problem. We've got 7g is greater than or equal to 56. Remember, whenever you have a coefficient and a variable right next to each other, that operation means multiplication. So to undo multiplication, we're going to need to divide. So in this case, we're going to divide by 7 on this side, as well as this side. Our 7's cancel. I'm going to bring down g. 56 divided by 7 is 8. And then I'm going to bring down our greater than or equal to symbol. So again, it's exactly like solving equations. The only thing that's different is bringing that inequality symbol down instead of an equation, or I'm sorry, an equal sign. Now I want you to take a moment to solve this problem. You can pause the video and then I'll explain it in just a moment. Now that you've solved this problem, we're going to add 2 on both sides. Since our variable is y, we want to get that by itself. I'm going to go ahead and slash this here and bring down my y. 25 plus 2 gives us 27. And our inequality symbol is a greater than symbol. So we end up with 27 is greater than y. Go ahead and take a moment to solve the remaining 3 problems on your own. If you need any assistance, raise your hand so the teacher can help you, and then I'll go over these problems. For this problem, we have w divided by 4 is less than 12. So to solve this, we have w as our variable. Attached to that variable is a division of 4. To undo a division of 4, you're going to want to multiply by 4. Again, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Our 4's cancel. We'll bring down that w. We'll also bring down our less than symbol. And 12 times 4 is 48. So our answer is w is less than 48. For our next problem, we do have some decimals, but we shouldn't be afraid of those. We do have our calculator that we can use. Remember, when you have your coefficient and variable side by side, that does mean multiplication. To undo multiplication, we're going to want to divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 3/10. Our 3/10 will end up canceling. I'm going to bring down h. I'm also going to bring down our greater than symbol. And using your calculator, you could do 3.9 divided by 0.3. And when you do that, you end up with 13. So h is greater than 13. For this last problem, it is a little bit trickier because we are dealing with integers, but again, you can use your calculator if you need assistance with that. C is our variable, attached is a -4, so I'm going to do the opposite, which is adding 4 to both sides. When I do that, our 4's cancel. I'm going to bring down C. I'm also going to bring down that greater than or equal to symbol. And now we have -17 plus 4. If you owed somebody $17 and you gave them $4 to try and get out of the hole, you're still going to owe them $13. And again, if you needed your calculator for this, in order to put it in there, you would have to do 17, then you'd have to hit the negative key, plus 4, and then equals, and you would end up with -13 is greater than or equal to C. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you solve inequalities. Whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, this is how you solve them, exactly like you would with equations. You just simply bring down the inequality symbol. The difference between solving for an equation and an inequality is that your answer for an equation gives you one specific answer, whereas when you're solving for an inequality, it could mean an infinite amount of answers that could represent for your variable.